All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Friday afternoon. Another edition of KFTV Live presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use our code KFTV. Bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets with our guys at DraftKings Sportsbook. The final countdown is here, man. Knicks prepare for the regular season campaign with the final dress rehearsal tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. We're going to talk about that, what we expect from this team coming out of this final preseason game, plus our bold predictions of the season, man. We'll give you our 3 bold predictions for the Knicks in the 2025-26 campaign. Joining me today, he's my guy, man. Diehard Knicks fan, entertainer, singer, you name it. The CEO of The Shot Clock. You can find him on all social media platforms. And you can find him probably at Say Less NYC running things. Just ask for my guy, Justin Morelli, man. Justin Morelli joins us here on the show. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel, and hit us up on the KFTV Discord, man. You know we're here for you. Number 1 show for the fans, by the fans. Salute to our franchise channel members in the building. Salute to the replay gang, and happy Friday to Knicks Nation worldwide. Let's get into it, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for having me. And listen, I'm sure Daria appreciates the free plug for Say Less, too.
Yeah.
So we'll send him a text for the free plug.
Yeah, tell Dar I need my chicken satay and you know my filet mignons on the house next time I pull up over there, man.
I got you.
Yeah,
I got you.
But yeah, good to have you on the show, man. Happy Friday, my guy. Let's get right into it, man. Let's not waste any time. You headed to the Garden later tonight. I'll be there later tonight. Yep. Final dress rehearsal. We're expecting, according to Mike Brown, we're expecting to see some normal minutes here, some normal rotations. So what are some of your expectations going forward?
Well, first off, do we know if Mitch, Josh Hart, that contingent is playing? Is it a full dress rehearsal with everyone playing, or do we are those guys questionable?
I haven't heard yet. We haven't seen the reports from the Knicks beat. OG Anunoby was out yesterday with an ankle injury. He seems to be back today. Mitchell Robinson has been out with load management. Nothing crazy, just managing his minutes there. And then Josh Hart, it's not clear if he practiced or what. So it's not even clear if Josh Hart's going to be coming back tonight.
So I would expect them to pretty much treat this like a regular season game. You know, I was speaking to my brother about this before, and one of the reasons I was like, you know what, I want to be there tonight because I want to kind of see what the lineups are going to look like, what the rotations are going to look like, what the offense is going to look like. And I know they're playing the Hornets, but at the same time, this to me is going to be the closest thing to a regular season game. It's basically going to be a regular season game, you know, and I think what I would expect, I expect Mitch to start. You know, we've gotten into this a little bit in the past on video with me saying I think Deuce should start. And I know a lot of the fans, besides you, had an issue with that. But I think it's pretty clear they're going to start Mitch to start the year. I think that's what's going to happen. Now, the interesting thing is going to be is he's not going to play every game because they're going to load manage him throughout the season, from what I understand, where they're going to give him, you know, a rest day, maybe especially when they play back-to-backs and stuff like that.
Right. That's
going to be the question is going to be who are they going to start in those games, you know, what is it, 10, 15 games maybe that Mitch does not play, who's going to be the guy. And I think starting tonight, you're going to see some options there where I think they're going to play some different lineups to see, okay, who could be that guy, whether it's Josh, whether it's Deuce, whether it's someone else that we don't know, whether it's Yabusele, whatever they could do there. What are going to be the options for the 5th starter when Mitch is not going to be the guy there?
Yeah, good points. And speaking of that, that's a good segue because yesterday when Mike Brown met with the media, he was asked that question by Steve Popper, Knicks insider with New York Newsday. Here was Mike Brown's reaction in terms of how the Knicks plan to deploy Mitch, and when he's not playing, the direction that Mike Brown is going to go in as it relates to the regular season. Here's the Knicks coach, Mike Brown.
Chance that I would try to duplicate it. You know, whatever duplication means.
Go back
there's
a couple
probably
seconds. Here we go.
It'll be by feel. There's probably a chance that I would try to duplicate it. You know, whatever duplication means, just to keep everything else consistent. And I feel we have, especially early on, you know, you want to give guys opportunities so you can see if guys can really handle it or not. And so I think, you know, I feel like we're pretty deep. Time will tell. And so I would probably duplicate it more than change it up. but don't hold me to that. All right? Don't hold me to that.
All right, so, I mean, to me, bro, this is telling me, because like you said, I'm with you. I think Mitch is in as a starter. But what Mike Brown seems to be saying here, you tell me what you think. It seems like he wants to keep that Twin Tower look for consistency, have Towns know what's expected of him at the 4, but also giving Hukporti. I think this is a sign for Ariel Huckporti right here. Mm-hmm. He's going to be getting a big opportunity with Mitch's minutes being managed correctly. I don't think they're going to be playing Mitch as much on back-to-back nights. So this is an opportunity here for Ariel Huckporti to slide in here, make a case for that backup 5 spot, play alongside Karl-Anthony Towns and some of the better players. It's a big opportunity here for Huckman.
I agree, and I think what you heard there in that clip, and I hadn't heard that yet, is exactly why they hired Mike Brown, right? Because he said, I want to keep it consistent, but I'll be lenient and I'll, depending on what we see, I might change it up. And that's not something you would have ever heard from Tibbs before. Yeah. So the reason they hired this guy is because of his versatility as a coach and his openness to change things up from not just staying with one thing. And I think smart, listen, if he's going to start with Mitch, it makes sense to kind of mirror that. And if that's working, you do something similar so you keep everyone in their right spot. So I think, like you said, Huck is going to get an opportunity. With that said, I think that's an edict to the rest of the players on the team. You be ready because you might get an opportunity. And when you get that opportunity, if you take it and you run with it and we look good with X lineup, whether it's whoever we put in there, you may see a situation where if the Mitch lineup maybe doesn't work against certain teams, he might go with that lineup against other teams, maybe more small ball teams. So yeah. I think this says to me, Mike Brown's going to be open-minded, but I think at least at the beginning, like you said, I think Huck is going to get the first run at it.
Yeah, I think, rim protection and defense is still going to be a staple of their, identity and their philosophy. And so having Mitch out there and then secondarily having Hukporti out there, I think is part of Mike Brown really trying to set a baseline for how they want to play. And for Hukporti, look, he can bring a lot to this offense. I think he's a good weak side shot blocker. Mike Brown certainly wants to see him refine his fundamentals a little bit as it relates to staying vertical so he can stay disciplined and stay in the games. Offensively, Mike Brown has given him a lot of compliments in terms of how he moves, fast feet. I've heard Hukporti personally, just watching him throughout the entire summer league. He talks a lot. He's a good signal caller as well. And so we'll see, man. I think he could benefit from playing alongside some of those better players. I think that'll overall give him a boost. He's got a little short roll, little floater as well, too, to his game, man. It's interesting.
We saw it last year, right, before he got hurt. I mean, listen, if Tibbs is playing you and you're a rookie, you're showing something in practice.
Yeah.
So, he showed things before he got hurt last year. I think a lot of people made this comparison. It's not the ideal comparison. He's a rookie, but he has a lot of Isaiah Hartenstein in his game, right? Being a lefty with the little push floater shot, the way he moves on the court, those types of things, the defensive versatility that he has. I think he's the type of guy, I'd like to see him play more. I'd like to see him play against some of the better players, and let's see what he's got. To me, this is what the regular season's for, right? It's what the beginning of the regular season especially is for. You want to see all these guys, what they can do in different spots, give them opportunities in more high leverage roles than maybe they've previously had. And let's see if he takes and runs with it because, listen, then if Mitch, we know Mitch has had an injury history, right? So that's a concern regardless if he's getting load management or not. It's always a concern. He could re-injure himself in some capacity. You want to have a guy, if you like the way that lineup looks with the Twin Towers, you want to have another option there that if he does get hurt, you're not then scrambling. Yeah. And I think Huck, if he could show stuff at the beginning of the year, that could be a big lift for sure.
And what's going to be interesting is with Mitch and his load management already, you could pretty much book that in. We don't know the status of Josh Hart, how he's going to be feeling with the finger. How does he react to the physicality? How does he respond there? How many minutes is he going to log? So I think that in itself, those restraints is going to push Mike Brown to be creative with these rotations. We've already seen it in the preseason. With Hart out, we saw a lot of 3-guard rotations. We did see Cat and Yabusele in that 4-5 combination when you had both Mitch and Hukporti out. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he deploys those rotations. But the guy you like, who's going to be very important to me for this bench as kind of like the only steady hand that you have as far as, two-way play, is Deuce.
Yeah.
And
I think,
and you'll be able to see that in those small ball lineups plus the bench units.
And I think, I know I got a lot of heat for that, saying Deuce should start. And the truth is, I don't think he's the ideal starter. I just think he's the best option that they have. Like, that was more the way I see it. And listen, Mike Brown might be able to change my entire philosophy, the way he coaches this team. Maybe there's different things that he implements that makes me say, you know what? Hey, Mitch might be the best option there. I'm just concerned about the shooting, right? I was concerned about the shooting last year. And unless, if Mikal shoots the way he did last year, which was not up to the standards that we've seen in the past, especially from above the break, in the corners, he was fine. But above the break, he had issues. OG is a good shooter, but he's not a great shooter. He's not a knockdown shooter. He's not someone that the defense is going to be like, don't leave this guy, right? And then you have whoever that fifth guy is, whether it's Josh or Mitch, they're not shooting, they don't have any shooting ability from the outside. So when you take that into account, to me, I always worried when your two best players are your best shooters and they're going to be the guys that need the ball. Yeah. That's not the most ideal thing. You need guys that are going to be the off-ball guys that when those guys get doubled, when those guys need to find someone, they got to be able to kick for an open guy. And I feel like that's one thing that they lacked last year, and especially in the second half of the year. And I think you noted this on one of your shows. I think it was once OKC started playing. We played OKC the first game. I think it was in January. And they started putting their wing on Cat. That changed the philosophy of the way any team that had that type of versatility on defense would play Cat going forward, because they said, you know what? We're going to make Cat post up. It's not what he wants to do. He can do it, but it's not what he wants to do. What he's best at is facing up, hitting the three ball when a big man's on him, or pump faking and driving to the basket. That's what he's going to do best. And when they took that away from him, he then became just the kind of a floor spacer. And you can't have that this year. I don't know what they're going to do. So that's my concern with either Josh or Mitch being out there. Yes, defensively, I could see it. But offensively, if you don't have that two guard that hey, if I leave him open, he can knock down the shot. Well, I'm concerned about what, because Josh, OG, Mikal, they're forwards, in my opinion. I know this is positionless basketball now, but I still think it's important the way guys move. You have a natural shooting guard on the court that could fill it up from deep. And I'm concerned about whether it's Mitch out there, it's Josh out there, them putting their center on those guys, sagging in the paint, and just letting that player shoot. And then you have a situation where Towns is then played by another wing player. Listen, I'm curious to what you have to say about this. Maybe Mike Brown has a different style of offense, which is going to change that and alleviate some of that pressure on Cat. But you cannot have Cat as a floor spacer this year. You just can't do it, in my opinion. No, and that's why that underscores the significance of having Deuce McBride out there and having multiple looks. And also will fit well when you have to manage Mitch's minutes, because then you can go to different lineups. You can go to your twin bigs. You can go to your smaller lineups, but you have to have Deuce out there as a scoring threat, a shooting threat, and then with his on-ball defense as well. Yes. And the numbers back it up. That Deuce in the limited minutes with those starters was very impactful. Deuce in those minutes with Karl-Anthony Towns is extremely impactful. So, that just feeds into how Mike Brown wants to stagger whether it's with the starters or stagger Brunson and Towns by having Deuce out there who can play alongside both of those players. So, he's an important guy for this bench because, a couple days ago, Brogdon retires. What was your reaction to that? And what do you think that just like going forward and how that impacts the bench? What do you think about it? It was kind of out of the blue, obviously. I don't think anyone expected it, but look, he's had a lot of injuries in his career. So I think he probably got to the preseason. He probably wasn't feeling like himself. He looked a little sluggish in the game that I saw him play. And I think he just best felt, hey, listen, at this point in my career, I don't want to fight to be out there. Now, I think he would have been a big plus for the Knicks because I think he would have been their backup point. Jordan Clarkson is not really a point guard. He's a scoring combo guard. He's in the Deuce. He can handle the ball better than Deuce, but he's in that kind of mold, right? So I think they wanted a point guard, which makes it very interesting to me about Spencer Dinwiddie, which I hope. I don't know who.
This is your debut on KFTV, man. Be careful, man. They throw tomatoes quickly if they don't like your takes. I know you're comfortable right now, man. Welcome to the show. I'm just warning you right now. Tomatoes could start flying when you start saying the wrong things. Go ahead.
Well, one thing I will tell you, I've never been afraid of a tomato in my entire life. Okay, like I'm afraid of some other things, but tomatoes I can fight off. All right. So what I would say is, I know Dinwiddie has not been a Knicks favorite. Right. In the years past, he's had some things to say about the Knicks, but you know what Knicks fans love? They love those guys, right? We've seen that with Jesse Winker and the Mets. And then he came to the Mets and he became a fan favorite because the people like when they're willing to talk. That's what New York is. New York is you talk and you back it up. And Dinwiddie has talked. And in years past, he's back it up. So, hey, we might not like him, but he's got to give him credit. The guy can hoop when he's been out there and he's played on certain teams, especially the Nets when they went to the playoffs that year. So if he came to the Knicks, I think every Knicks fan, if he was coming off the bench and playing a role of backup point and playing that role well, they would easily bring him into their good graces. I think that's the type of guy we love to hate someone and then he's on our team and then we love him. That's what New Yorkers don't do that better. They do that better than everyone, right? We can't stand him and now he's on our team.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I think I don't know if it's possible because if they do bring him on, they're in the same situation as they were where they still trade a guy.
Got to trade,
right? So they have to trade a guy and. Unfortunately, there's not an ideal situation, right? Like what I think you've talked about it. You can't trade Deuce because he's too important to the team, even though he'd bring the biggest return. And then if you look at the other guys, Kolek doesn't seem to have a market. He's the ideal option, but he doesn't have a market. And then even Dadier, who probably won't factor in this year, you want to give up on a first-round pick who's got potential. You've seen got good size, and I think you've said they don't have a lot of wings on this team to begin with good size. You want to give up on that guy just to bring in an extra guard like a Shamet or a Garrison Matthews or one of these guys? I don't know if that makes sense either. So I think it's a tough spot. But just in terms of basketball alone, Dinwiddie would help the team. He could still play, especially if he's in a backup role where he's playing 10, 15 minutes. He's almost Jordan Clarkson, but a bigger version of him and can handle and is more of a facilitator than JC is. You know what I'm saying? So I think he would help the team. I don't know if you've heard anything, if they're even interested in that, but I think he would help.
Yeah, haven't heard anything at this moment, but they do find themselves in a. I think it's a tricky spot. Some people don't think it's a big deal. I do, because I think playmaking was already a question mark with the guys that they already have. And so, losing a guy like Brogdon, who, again, looked pretty terrible in the preseason. You were there. You saw him. But I think the idea of what he could have been was having a smarter playmaker, someone who could feed Deuce and Clarkson off ball at the very least. But he calls it quits. So, look, that thrusts Kolek into this spot. Yeah. It's his time. It's an evaluation time throughout the course of this season to see, okay, do they need to go out and get some emergency insurance for the final stretch? We'll see what Kolek can do. I still think Deuce and Clarkson are going to get the lion's share of those minutes. Yes. But, again, it puts Deuce out of his natural spot. And Clarkson, people in the chat, shout out to everybody in the chat, first and foremost. But we had a super chat come in here from Good Vibes Lo-Fi. Shout out to Good Vibes Lo-Fi. He says, Clarkson can play point guard, 5 assists 2 years ago. I don't necessarily think the assist numbers is an indication of who you are as a playmaker per se.
Agreed.
He can get you the paint touches, which is what Mike Brown wants. Of the players on that bench, he can get you those paint touches. Is he going to have the vision?
Right.
To make guys better.
I think to your point, remember, this is also a guy, he didn't have a great year last year, JC.
Did not have a good year.
And he's on a veteran, he's on a minimum contract. This is not, listen, we hope he's got something left in the tank. A few years ago, he was one of the 6 men in the league, I believe, one of the best 6 men in the league, and is a scorer off the bench. He is not a guy, I agree with you, that's a facilitator for other players. That's not what he does. He is a guy that's going to fill it up.
It's not his job.
Yeah, it's not his job. You brought him here, so when you bring a guy off the bench and Jalen's on the bench and you want to bring a guy in, listen, you saw Cam Payne win a game last year in the playoffs for the Knicks doing this. And Cam Payne is not on the level of JC as a scorer off the bench. So that's what you want ultimately. You want that role you want him to win a few games for you, which he probably will if he's playing well. But he's not a guy that's going to get other guys the ball. That's not his role. And like you said, that's not Deuce's role either. Deuce is much better when he's playing with Jalen, when he's playing with other guys that he just can spot up, attack secondary closeouts, or hit open threes. And play defense, like you said, because he's going to be their best on-ball defender against point guards. He just is. They don't really have another guy. Mikal, that's not his strength. I know he did it some last year, but he's much better as an off-ball defender where he could use his length and guard wings. Yeah. I don't think that his strength is on point guards. So I think Deuce is going to be key in that. But I think from a playmaking standpoint, I think that it is. I agree with you. Brogdon was at least going to come in and what they say is be a professional. and run the offense, right? And run and get other people in their spots and direct the traffic. And that's an underrated thing, really, in basketball in general. I think people don't realize if it's not flashy and he's not putting up 20 or he's not putting up 10 assists, that means he can't play. But that role is important. And last thing I would say, and shout out to my guy Tyler, because I know Tyler, and Tyler's a good dude and one of my favorite guys on the team. We haven't really seen, they haven't given him a chance yet, really, right? Like, we've seen him in very limited roles, whether it's last year in regular season, garbage time, or preseason. He's been up and down, but we haven't really seen it. Now he's a spot closer to where we know there's going to be injuries. There always is. Yeah. There's an injury to one guy. Now all of a sudden he's in there.
He's in there.
You know
he's in there.
He's in there, and he's going to have to perform. So I don't know if he can or can't. I think he's definitely, he works hard. You could tell he puts in the work in the offseason. You could see he wants it. I think we got to see him. I don't know if we know the answer to that yet, to be honest with you.
CP the franchise, my guy Justin Morelli on the ones and twos. Happy Friday to Knicks Nation. It is October 17th, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it or not, we are almost there for the most anticipated Knicks season in decades here. And
I would say since the year 2000 specifically.
Yeah, you think so?
They went to the finals in 99. Yeah, because I think, unless you want to say 2013 after they went to the second round with Melo. Yeah. But I don't think that team was like that 8 seed. Everyone was like, oh, they were the 8 seed only because they got new guys. It was a lockout season, and now they're going to have all their guys back, and they're going to make a run to the finals. I think that season was probably the most anticipated before this year.
I got to go 95, man. After losing a heartbreaker in Game 7, you're expected to come back. It's still no Jordan. You're expecting to get there. I'm going to go say 95, but I'm representing the older generation, Justin. I'm representing the old heads.
You're going way back.
Yeah, I'm representing the old heads. Did you see that, segue into football? Did you see that football game last night with the two 40-year-olds, man?
I did. I was up till 3 a.m. last night doing content for it. I was out. Listen, it was the unction last night.
It was the unction. That was my speed. I was thrilled to watch that football game, man.
And then, by the way, you have Max Scherzer going out there and giving 5 2/3 for the Blue Jays at 41, right? So you had the unction was in full effect.
The unction was in full effect last night in sports. Veterans doing veteran things. Let's go. So, yeah,
that was fun to watch.
Yeah, that was funny, and that was actually a good football game.
Great football game. The Thursday night game has weirdly been very entertaining this year, which in years past, it's kind of been a joke, and this year it's been fun.
Yeah, no question about it. And speaking of Thursday night football, speaking of football, period, man, your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, man. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. For new customers out there, this one is for you. Bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, you can score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. So go ahead and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use our code KFTV. And once again, you bet $5 and you get $200 in bonus bets. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer is for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Once again, this is a limited time offer.
All right. That's how you know you're good, by the way, because I was like, where's he going with this Thursday night football? And then he goes right into the plug.
You gotta have the seamless transitions. You know what I'm saying?
He was good. That was good. I was like, damn, he's good. And by the way, just one thing to add. If you're a gambler out there and you have gambling problems, you have a lot more problems than calling 1-800-GAMBLER. Okay, you might have to call a few other people if you got those types of problems. So let's just put that out there.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. But shout out to our guys at DraftKings once again for sponsoring today's show. Okay. All right, man. Let's get to it. Bold predictions for the 25-26 season. Give me your first one, and I'll go after that, man. What do you think, man?
I gave you 4 because you told me 3. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go with 4. I'm gonna give him a bonus. So my first one is the one I'm least confident in. I think it's a possibility because of the player, but I think because of the guys in the West, it's the least probable. Brunson to win the MVP.
Whoa!
Is my first bold prediction.
Off the rip. What do you think, man?
I think he's going to have that type of season. Now, the only reason I think it's going to be tough for him is because of what the numbers Jokic puts up with the triple doubles and the numbers Shea puts up, which is close to triple doubles. Jalen is probably going to have to score 30 a game with 8 assists and somewhere in the 5 or 6 rebound. And the Knicks are also going to have to be the 1 seed probably for him to get that. I think it's possible. I think it's possible to do, which is why I made, and this is a bold prediction.
Yes.
We don't do 50% predictions.
Let's
here
go.
on KFTV.
Let's go. Go hard or go home. It's money time.
I didn't come on here. Right. I didn't come on here to give you Huckporti's going to play 22 minutes a game. Okay. I'm not giving you that. I wanted to give you a real cutthroat. Right.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to finish in the top 5 for sure. Remember, no Tatum this year. He doesn't have him to worry about. The East, he should be the best player without anything, right? I think Donovan Mitchell will be obviously a threat, but I think he should be the best player. The way he's going to win the MVP is he's going to have to get through those 2 guys or 3 guys in the West, and that's going to be the challenge. I think he's going to finish top 5, but I think he's capable of going 50, 40, 90 this year. Especially in Mike Brown's offense, with him more off the ball, he'll get better shots in that offense. I think they have a better bench to give him more of a rest. And when he needs to go off, he can go off. And I think with the East the way it is this year, I think this is his best chance if he's ever going to win MVP. So I'm going to put it in the universe right here on KFTV.
Let's go. I like it. Knicks Nation in the chat. My man Justin is going for the gusto. He says go hard or go home. If we going bold, he's going with the captain with the MVP. Still the real 80 in the chat says, this is how you support your team. All right, so he likes that pick, man. You got a fan in the chat with that pick. Let's go. All right, I'm going to go with, with this new Mike Brown offense, the Knicks under Tibbs, with only a couple of years where they were within, I think, the top 10 in threes. 27th last year in attempts for a top 5 offense was really interesting. Mike Brown wants to get him to 43s a game, and I think they get there, man. I think they move within the top 10 of 3-point, not just attempts, but makes in the league this year. Number 1, they have the talent to do so in this starting 5, from Brunson to Towns, OG, Mikal Bridges. You've added 3-point potential, even though he took a step back last year in Clarkson. You have Deuce, even though he took a step back last year. Right?
He did.
Deuce has to get his numbers back up.
He was not healthy fully last year, though, in my opinion.
Was.
I think that was part of it. That was part of it. Yeah.
You got Yabusele as well, a 40% three-point shooter. He's capable of doing it. So with the pieces that they have, and with this offense, preaching more ball movement, preaching more player movement, racing to the corners and finding your corner 3 shooters there if possible, add Landry Shamet to that list, I think they get up there. And to me, it's got to go through Towns, though, man. Because if you think of that number, man, 27th in attempts with the best shooting big man, arguably, in the game, they've got to get Towns more 3-point attempts, and he's got to help them spearhead that number. They got to get there.
I love the take, first of all, and I think that's much more probable than mine. But I think Towns had one of his fewest 3-point attempt seasons last year, and which, like you said, that can't happen for a guy of that ability. He's really your best 3-point shooter. You know what I mean? So you need to get him more attempts. And I also think when you look at the roster this year, like you said, what Mike Brown's going to do, he's going to play faster. So you would think they're going to have more possessions as well. So if they have more possessions, that means they're going to get up more threes. So I think if they're playing 50% faster than they were last year, which is one of the slowest teams in the NBA, they're playing 50% faster. That's probably 2 to 3 more threes a game just because of the pace of play, right? And then you take into account he wants to get up more threes. They have more 3-point shooters on this team. I'm going to go off the fact that I think Bridges is going to have a bounce back this year. I think if anyone didn't fit Tibbs the most on the team, I think it was him. And I think he may, listen, you never hear him say anything in the media. The fact that he said that in the middle of the year about guys not playing enough, I don't think he was happy last year. I think that contributed to his I don't want to say poor play, but for him, he did not have the type of offensive season that he's capable of having, even with Phoenix, right? So I think you're going to see a much better Bridges shooting year this year, and I don't think that's a bad take at all. I like that.
Yeah, me neither, man. So I'm going there with them on the threes. And like I said, it's going to be Karl-Anthony Towns is going to have to be the one to really push this thing. Only 4.7 3-points attempted.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This year, which is his lowest since 2018, 2019, when he had 4.6.
And he averaged 25 points a game this year.
And he averaged 25 points per game.
So imagine what he could do if he's shooting. And what did he shoot from three this year? He had to shoot low 40s, right?
42.
Yeah, 42, right.
Got to get it to him.
You got to get it. You got to get him more threes. And I think that was the lack of creativity in the offense last year. I think this year with Mike, with other guys on his staff, I think they're going to try to do, and they know how important Towns is. Without Towns as that second scorer where you could take some of that of Brunson, this team can't win a championship. I think we can agree on that. They need him to be that offensive, superpower.
Bold prediction number 2 by you. I'm just looking at the time. So bold prediction number 2 by you.
Bold prediction, and I do have an extra 5. So
okay,
just FYI. So we can, it's a haircut.
Okay,
so
okay, got you.
And listen, I got to look good for the Knicks game tonight.
You got to get chopped, man. It's Friday night Knicks.
Up, right?
You got to do it just to get there. You know what I'm saying?
So I got probably an extra 10. It's not far from my apartment, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Number 2. I'm going big or going hard because I feel like this is my debut on KFTV. I'm going with all the big stuff today.
Let's go.
So I'm going with the new coach to win Coach of the Year in his first year with the Knicks.
Mike Brown. You're thinking the Sacramento luck from that first year, he brings it to the Knicks.
I think it's a combination of this team got confidence last year from getting to the conference final. So they're coming into this year, I think, feeling like, okay, we know we have that type of team. We made our bench. Regardless of what you want to say about Tibbs playing the guys or not, their bench is probably 10 times better than it was last year in terms of the options they have off the bench. It's got a ceiling that's much higher. They should be able to beat other teams' second units off the floor this year. And I think that's going to be a big advantage. So when you take that into account, now I don't think, obviously, the minutes are going to be down, so he's not maximizing regular season wins like Tibbs did, but I think you almost might see more regular season wins because of the deeper team and because no Tatum, no Halliburton. Even though I like Orlando and Atlanta and what they did this year, sometimes you bring in new guys who are very ball dominant. It takes a little time to get them integrated into the lineup. I don't think that's going to be like they're going to be off and running and be great teams that are going to win a ton of games.
Yeah.
I think by the end of the year, they'll be in the mix. So with that said, I was a fan of Mike Brown. He was one of my choices that I thought they should hire. And I think he's going to do a good job there. And I think he's going to win Coach of the Year in his first year.
Okay, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Brown, Coach of the Year. Justin goes in with bold prediction number 2. Okay, there's one for me. You mentioned Mikal Bridges. I've been talking about it all offseason, and here's my bold prediction. I think Mikal Bridges makes the All-Star team.
Okay, that's a big one. He's never made an All-Star team.
He's never made it, and I think he's always been one of those fringe guys.
Yes.
But there's a lot pointing to him having a bigger season and a bigger role in this Mike Brown offense. And they're going to need it to put the ball in Mikal Bridges' hands. If you want to get the ball to Brunson in off-ball situations, if you want to get more shots up, more possessions, especially in transition, I think you've got to go to Mikal Bridges and really allow him to be unlocked in this offense. And with some of the pieces that you mentioned that are out of the East, not to say that this would be kind of a backup plan type of all-star pick where he's filling in for those guys that are injured, but I think it does help his chances as well when you have, crowded positions at the guard, at the forward spot, especially in the East. But I think Mikal Bridges, another year with this team, the chemistry with this team, with Mike Brown, who he seems to be comfortable with, at least in the onset. We'll see once the honeymoon phase wears off how he feels. But he seems to just be a little bit more settled in here with the Knicks. And even though you can't take much stock in preseason games, I thought he's looked good by and large.
Yeah.
And I think that carries over into the season, man. I think it's a big year for Mikal Bridges.
I love the take. And number one, you could tell he's already talking up Mike Brown. He's been the most vocal of what Mike Brown's brought. Now, you said it is the honeymoon phase, and I think we've dated people in the past. That honeymoon phase is nice. And then once you get past a couple months, that thing turns like a cab, in traffic in Times Square. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but I think the best comparison I would say as to why he can make the All-Star team would be like a Derek White.
Yeah.
Right? Like Derek White, I think he made it this year, right? Am I not mistaken? Or last year?
Derek White made, I think it was this year.
It was this year, I believe he made it,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, double check. But to me, he was a fringe all-star. He was the same type of guy. He's just a guard, obviously, but he was a fringe all-star.
No, he didn't make it. He
didn't make it?
No. Derek White did not make the all-star team yet.
Did he make it the year before? I feel like he made it one of these last years. He did not.
He didn't make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then my argument's out the window, but I still think Derek White's
you're talking about level. The World Cup team. We made the World Cup team for Dave.
Right, yes, he did do that. But I think he was close to making the All-Star team this year. And I think he's a potential All-Star player every year. He's a fringe guy. And I think if Mikal has a higher ceiling than him, he's a bigger player. He can put the ball on the floor more than Derek can. He's more of a versatile offensive player. And I think, like you said, Mike Brown coming in, they need him to be better. He knows he just signed that contract. He knows he didn't have the year he had. Let's be real. Knicks fans would be shipping him off to a different country if he didn't have those 2 blocks in the playoffs. Let's just be real about it, right? Knicks fans were not happy with him for most of the year, and he saved himself with 2 enormous plays in the playoffs. But we know what he's capable of doing. We have not seen that on the offensive end in a Knicks uniform, aside from maybe a 10-minute stretch in Game 2 of the Boston series, right? So I think I agree with you. I think his ceiling has not been tapped yet with the Knicks. And I think with Mike Brown, I think this is the best shot he's got. And it's a big year for him.
Mikal Bridges All-Star. What do you guys think in the chat, man? We're going bold. We are going bold on this show. Still the real AD in the chat said, CP, what are you drinking? No way he's an All-Star. Hey, man, this is just the bold predictions show, sir. This is just the bold predictions. Go hard or go home. All right, Justin, last one for you. Bold prediction number 3.
This is going to be a real bold one, and I think this is going to turn you on your head a little bit. And it also kind of contradicts number 2 slightly because it's probably both those can happen. But I think at the trade deadline this year, Giannis will be traded to the Knicks.
Oh, my God.
That's what I think. I don't think he's going to make it through the season in Milwaukee. I think you could already see the signs there with how he's talking in the media. It's like Carmelo 2.0 to me with Denver in that year when he got traded. It's so many similarities to me. And Giannis, obviously he's got a better relationship with the organization. He's brought them a championship, which Melo didn't do. But I think when you're talking about midseason, unless the Knicks are playing at a 1-seed clip that's so high that it's like they're the best team in the league, which I don't think they're going to be at, especially with a new coach by that time. I think they'll be good top 2 or 3 seeds at that point. You can't pass up trading for Giannis. And I remember Bridges, you can trade him by February 1st. There's that 4-day period before the deadline, February 6th or 5th, I believe it is, where you can make that trade. We're not talking about a regular guy here. If Giannis is available, every single team would be interested in that. I think he's going to force his way to the Knicks because I think that's where he wants to go. And I think you're going to see some package. I think it's a high percentage, as long as the Knicks, like I said, aren't a 1 seed, of OG, Bridges, somewhere, maybe do some with picks, whatever kind of package that'll be. I think they're going to try to keep Cat and Brunson and Giannis together. And I think that's, to me, is my biggest prediction. I do think Giannis, I think it's above 75% that he gets traded by the deadline.
Wow.
I have no knowledge of this whatsoever. But I like to read the tea leaves. That's the type of guy I am. And I'm reading this and I'm watching all the statements. That team is going to be a mess this year. I don't like that team at all.
Yeah.
I think everyone's saying they can be competitive because of Turner. Nonsense. Turner's a good player.
They're not going to be that good.
They're not going to be competitive. And, they lost Dame, who is their number 2 scorer. I don't know who's going to alleviate Giannis on the offensive end. I don't like that team at all. I know the East is down, which is the only way they'll even be in the play-in in the top 8. I think that's going to be it's the time. The clock is already ticking for him to be out of there. At worst, he's gone by off season. But I think if the Bucks are smart, now we've seen it's going to be tougher with the new CBA for sure because it's different than what it was. But we've seen KD traded at the deadline. We've seen obviously Melo traded at the deadline. We've seen other big names traded at the deadline. I don't think it's as far-fetched as we think. And I think if the Bucks are having a bad season and they want to maximize, what they can really get from him with using other teams as leverage to get him to the Knicks, which I think they can only do at the deadline because off season, he's on a lame duck contract at that point. I think that's the best. It's almost the most opportune time to trade him if they were going to do that. So that's my prediction. I knew you were going to be stunned by this, but that's my prediction is that I think there's a good chance that he gets traded at the deadline. And I think the Knicks are a good possibility.
All right. Hey, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bold Prediction Show. My guy, Justin Morelli, said he's not going to waste your time. We going bold predictions. All right, a couple tomatoes coming in. I see a couple tomatoes trickling in on the chat right now. But we are going with bold predictions. I can't knock the man's prediction. It is a prediction.
It's a prediction. It's not a statement.
It's not a statement. It's not a take. It's a prediction.
It's not what I want to happen.
Right.
It's not what I think should happen. It's a prediction of, I think with Giannis, it's hard. Giannis is a top 3 player in the NBA. You don't get a chance to get that guy in his prime that often, which is why they talked to him in the offseason, which is why they spoke to the Bucks in the offseason with the team they had. You can't not have that conversation. And if there's a deal to be made, I think they would make the deal unless they're, like I said, unless they're on a 65 win clip in midseason.
Okay. All right.
Do you totally disagree? I want to hear what you have to say. You 100% disagree. Where do you stand on that?
I'm waiting until I want to wait. Like in reality, I want to wait on the Giannis situation until the end of the season. Evaluate everything. How do they look? What do they need? Did they win the championship?
Right.
I'm picking them to win it.
Okay.
Did they fall short? Why did they fall short? Is it a team flaw? Is it a defense-offense flaw? Was it an injury issue? We gotta examine everything before we make a drastic move. You know, that's my thing. I'm waiting.
Okay, so you want to see the year out. You want to see what they could do with the team. That's fair.
No question.
Totally fair.
No
totally
question. I want to see the whole thing play out. So, you know, that's where I am. But damn, I mean, I should have probably let you go last with that one. That was a blockbuster because my third one is not that sizzling. But hey, it might be.
Listen, Mr. CP, the franchise himself, KFTV, predicted the Karl-Anthony Towns trade, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Before, now you had a little inside scoop.
Yeah, no, that wasn't a prediction.
That was an inside scoop. I'm flying off the handle here on this prediction. But you know what?
Yeah.
I'm having my moment here on KFTV. I'm saying, hey, I think it's possible. I'm going to give that prediction today.
Go. All right, there we go.
The first of its kind.
Okay, so here's my final one here. And, you know, we opened the show talking about Mitch. He's going to be limited. They're going to watch his minutes. Great job by them. I don't think he's going to be playing on a lot of back-to-back nights. So with that being said, I think Mitchell Robinson played 71 games this year. I think Mitch played 71 games this year and qualifies for Defensive Player of the Year and All Defense this year. I'm going to put my money on Casey Smith, the world-famous medical team that they have here at the Garden. The team that got this team all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals relatively healthy. All guys are banged up at that point. They're going to limit his minutes. They're going to try to keep him fresh. Limited back-to-backs. Get him fresh for April. He played 72 games in the 21-22 season. I'm going bold. I think Mitch can get to 71, man.
I think I played 70 games that season, by the way. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
That is a bold prediction. I like it for where he's at right now. I think I think he's in the best shape he's been in. I think he said that.
Yeah, contract year. Contract year.
Well, everyone, listen, contract year is the best time to get in shape, right? Like, so listen, I like the call a lot. And I think if I was going to rank your takes in which likelihood if they would happen, I think the threes is 1, and I think that one's 2.
Yeah, that's where I'm going, man.
I like that. Now I have a question for you, actually.
Sure.
Because I'm curious about this. I was just on another show earlier, and I got asked about the Knicks. And I think I'm the only one who feels this way, and I'm curious what you think. I think the Knicks have a very good team, and I think they have a chance to go to the finals this year. But I think it's more by default in the East. I don't think they're a great team. I think they're a good/very good team. And if this was a normal year, which is why I think someone said this is more of a do or die year for Cleveland than it is for the Knicks, and I totally disagree with that. Cleveland, to me, last year lost the Pacers series because they didn't have Darius Garland for the first 2 games, and they didn't have Mobley for game 3. They have their full squad, and they won 60-plus games in the regular season. They proved they can beat those teams. This Knicks team was 1 or 2 plays away from losing the Detroit series, was 1 or 2 plays away from losing the Boston series. Now, you give them credit. They won those games, and I think, listen, you got to close the games out. But I want to see them put it together for a full season this year and show me, hey, we're a championship caliber team, not because Tatum's out, not because Halliburton's out, because that's the way everyone's talking. Oh, those guys are out, so the Knicks can win the championship. No, I want to see them come into this year, and I think their bench is better, and the new coach will help. I want to see them come into this year and say, we are one of the best teams, not only in the East, but in the NBA. Do you think that's a possibility? Do you think that's what will happen?
Yeah.
Or are you more on the they're going to be there by default because of the East.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's necessarily by default. I saw something with that team as the playoffs progressed this season. It wasn't pretty. It was gritty. And even though they fell short and at times it seemed like they were outclassed by the Pacers, this is where I'm hoping the shift in coaching, the shift in philosophy, the shift in offensive strategy can be the difference with this team. But overall, I saw an emergence from a guy like Mikal Bridges, who, yes, it was an up and down, but he had clutch. I'm talking about clutch plays. And that's what the playoffs is about, man. Like, It's not always going to be glamorous. You're not always going to be shining. Sometimes you got to get it out the mud. And I've seen this team do it. I've seen Cap do it for 3 years in a row now. And we saw something from that supporting cast that makes me believe that they will once again be playoff risers should they get there healthy. And look, I'm hoping that the war wounds that they sustained last year, the embarrassing losses to the Pacers in Game 1 and Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, that we knew it. Me and you were there. We walked out of that building. We knew it. It was a wrap.
I knew the series was over after that game.
It was a wrap.
It was a wrap. You can't come back from that.
Nah.
And Game 2 was a complete byproduct of Game 1. They would have never lost Game 2 had they not lost Game 1 in that fact.
It was over with. After Game 2, we left out of there wishing that they win the series instead of thinking that they could legitimately win the series.
Correct. And I think last thing one more thing I wanted to say. I'm the only thing that concerns me, which is why I'm kind of teetering on the brink, is I'm concerned about that fifth starter. And that's why I've said the Deuce thing, because I don't think there's an ideal fifth starter for this team.
Me neither.
I think if they want to play fast, I don't see how Mitch plays into that. I don't think he's going to make it through the season if they do that. If they want to play fast like that, then Josh isn't a good enough offensive player or shooter, especially with that finger. That finger concerns me, by the way.
Yeah,
I think it's going under the radar. That concerns me. And now he's got the back spasms on top of it. So that concerns me. And I don't think Deuce is the right guy for that either because of his size, because of the rebounding. I think you've pointed out their rebounding would definitely lack with that lineup. I'm worried about, do they have enough shooting in the offensive lineup, and can they guard Tyrese Maxey? Can they guard guys like that with
guard
their
spot.
best? Yeah, at the guard spot. And that's why I'm like, I think they could get through the East, because I don't think the East is going to challenge them in that way. But are they going to be able to really beat OKC? Can they beat Denver? Can they beat, these top teams? And if they do get to the finals, if they do make it there, can they be competitive with this team? That's my question mark. You seem to be more confident than I am, though.
I'm rolling with it, man, because all I'm saying, and I'll end with this, not how you start, how you finish, man. And, OKC, they can show that from beginning to end. They were the class of the league, but we saw where the Pacers came from January on, and they were the next best team. And we saw that it wasn't the Celtics because of their injuries. And so you just don't know, man. The thing is, for this Knicks team with this new coach, find the right combinations, find the right rotations, get to April healthy.
Yep.
That's the
100%.
journey. The journey's going to have peaks and valleys, but the key is that they're coming together at the right time. And I trust Cap, his decision
they have
making.
this man.
They got him.
They got him. We know we have the guy that can drive the bus. That's what you need most.
Yeah. So that's that, man. So anyway, my guy, great show. I'm going to see you later tonight. I'm going to see you outside the Garden. KFTV Fan Appreciation will be out there after the Knicks versus Hornets preseason game. If you see us outside, if you guys are at the Garden, come through and get on camera. And we want to get your thoughts, the Knicks fan takes on the season.
Don't bring any tomatoes to the Garden.
No tomatoes. Nope.
Save it for later.
Save them for Robert Randolph. If you see Robert Randolph, Sergeant Sources at the Garden, then definitely let him fly at him and send him our regards. But, other than that, my guy, I'll see you later, man.
I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for having me. And listen, I'm ready for this season. I think this is going to be fun.
Yes, sir. That's our guy, Justin Morelli, on the check-in. Salutes everybody in the chat. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel, man. That was a fun show. That was definitely a fun show. We're not done. We got a couple more things, couple announcements, and a couple more things. But shout out to our guy Justin Morelli. Yeah, so we will be outside of the Garden. Today's Fan Appreciation Day. We usually do this on the final preseason game of the season, where we go out by MSG, chop it up with the fans. We'll have T-shirts. We'll have giveaways. And as I said, we'll have a camera crew out there to get your guys' takes and get your reactions to everything. All right, so hoping you guys can pull up and meet us out there. So to everybody in the chat, did I see it was Eric L. Beats' birthday? Happy birthday to DJ Eric L. Beats. And speaking of Eric, man, make sure you join us and Eric. It's watch party season, ladies and gentlemen. It is watch party season. Knicks versus Cavs, Wednesday, October 22nd. Knicks versus Celtics, Friday, October 24th. A week from today, you guys know where to meet us, man. Slate NY, 54 West 21st Street in New York City. DJ Eric L. Beats on the ones and twos. We will be there. As usual, we do our giveaways after every quarter. We'll have live game audio, game video all over the venue. Big screen, stadium screen. It's incredible. The ambiance and the experience. And come through for the KFTV experience. You guys already know how it's going down. Get your tickets at KFTVWatch.com or go to KnicksFanTV.com to get your tickets. And make sure you do that. Table reservations are available as well. No kids at Slate for these two shows, for these two events. We'll let you know when you can bring the kids, but 21 and up for these. And go to KnicksFanTV.com to get yours and get your merch as well. Also, we have, you guys know, my Miami fans, Sunday, we will be, I'm trying to find my Miami promo. Hang on, I'm going through the disc. I'm going through the Instagram. Miami, October 26th. We will be there, Black Market Bayside, for the Knicks versus Heat pregame meetup. Those of you that have been coming there over the years and chopping it up with us, you guys know this is an incredible pregame experience down there in the 305 down in South Beach. So I'm looking forward to seeing our 305 family down there, and make sure you join us. October 26th. All of that you can find on the website on KnicksFanTV.com, or make sure that you are joining the newsletter and staying up to speed on what's going on. Okay, so we have that, and then, you know, this morning was really funny. They had Jaylen Brown was interviewed about losing to the Knicks last season and what happened and the impact. So here is Jaylen Brown's reaction to the whole thing. Here we go.
Accept both the highs and the lows. Last year we were a championship team. We won a championship, duck boats, champagne. This year we got to listen to insufferable Knicks fans. I don't know how we lost in general, but we lost. It's a part of the game. You got to accept both the highs and the lows. Last year we were a championship team. We won a championship, duck boats, champagne. This year we got to listen to insufferable Knicks fans. I don't know how we lost in general, but we lost.
Boy, Knicks fans got Jaylen Brown having nightmares. He said, now we got to listen to these people all year. This is what y'all do. Y'all gave that man trauma. And then always on time is our guy, the Block Nest monster, Mitchell Robinson. You know, Mitch talks to us through Instagram. That's the way the younger generation communicates. He's not a big talker. He doesn't like interviews, but he chops it up with us and leaves us some comments on our IG. So here was Mitch reacting to the comment. Look at that defense. There we go. Mitchell Robinson all over the court. Leads to the Mikal Bridges block on Jason Tatum in game 2. And yeah, both of those plays, Mitchell Robinson out there as the anchor. So sorry, Jaylen Brown. But, hey, that's just what we do, man. Those are Knicks fans for you. Okay? All right, man. Great show. Let me reset the batteries a little bit here so that I can be out there by MSG. And we'll see you guys out there, man. So to the replay gang, of course. Suits everybody in the chat, man. Happy Friday. Doubleheader here for me on the NBA Report side. Make sure you guys check us out on the NBA Report. We did our East and West predictions show with Brian Gelsile of NBA Radio. Make sure you guys check that out. That was a great show today as well. And yeah, man, it's on and popping. I'm very, very excited for this season ahead, and excited to endure this season with you guys at home, man. Whether you guys are watching at home, on your phone, on your TV, in the car, MTA, wherever you guys are watching from, we appreciate you guys, and we can't wait to tune in with you guys every game, every win, every loss, whatever it is. This is another journey that we can all experience together. So we're looking forward to doing that with you guys. All right. So, hey, as you know, whatever happens, stay tuned. Tune in here. Number one show for the fans by the fans. And we'll see you guys tonight for post-game live Knicks versus Charlotte Hornets.